Peggy 18.
You're watching Battlefield Bootcamp. This episode, Addison 396, is showing you how you can keep your jet in the sky long enough to make a difference.
Hey guys, so today we're playing Air Superiority and we're flying in the F-35, or the Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II to be precise. It's the one that's got the VTOL, the vertical takeoff and landing ability. And today the main topics that we're going to cover are third person flying, turning speed, and also the countermeasures that you're going to be using. So firstly I'll talk about third person flying. I'd actually recommend first person flying if you're starting out, as it makes flying slightly less complicated. You've got the HUD, the heads up display, which shows your altitude so you don't hit the height ceiling of the map. You've also got your speedometer, allowing you to easily judge and maintain a perfect turning speed, which we'll get into in a bit. And you've also got your crosshairs, which allow you to see where your bullets will fire. But there are advantages to flying in third person that I want you to have a listen to. So firstly, it gives you a greater field of view, FOV, compared to the first person view. Now this is beneficial for multiple reasons, like for example being able to detect jets that are about to crash into you. That happens all the time in Air Superiority, but with that greater field of view, you're actually you can see them a lot earlier, you can evade them more effectively, and you can get out of the way easier. And there's also less chance that you'll lose your opponent when you're in a dogfight. And you know all those times where the first person camera, they slip out at the top of your screen or the bottom of your screen and they're able to make a maneuver. In third person view, because of that extended field of view or field of vision, it allows you to actually see them more when they're doing those maneuvers and keep them in your sight. As you can see, for example here, I'm able to fire a few rounds of my rocket, a few rounds from my cannon, sorry, and then adjust my spray onto my target. This is something that does take a bit of practice, but if you're able to fly as well in third person as you are in first person, you may as well fly in third person, as it's, more advantageous. As you can see there with that guy, I just spray a couple of bullets and I'm able to, adjust my spray and then just take him out really, really quickly. So next, let's explore countermeasures. As you can see there, I'm popping mine at the moment, so it's a great time to talk about countermeasures. Firstly, there's the Fire Extinguisher. Very, very simple. In BF4, if your vehicle health drops below 37%, it becomes disabled or in a critical state, and you have to bail or get out on repair. Now, obviously in Air Superiority, what I'm playing at the moment, you can't just eject, due to, for some reason, no budget being spent by the US, Chinese or Russian forces on ejector seat buttons. So if your vehicle drops below 37% health, you aren't doomed to die with the Fire Extinguisher. That's where it comes in handy. You activate it and hopefully avoid any more damage until your plane health is fully recharged, because the Fire Extinguisher will pop you up to 37% health, and then you obviously get your health regen if you take no more hits. Now the Fire Extinguisher actually takes 25 seconds to reload. Next, we've got IR flares, or infrared flares. They prevent the lock-on for 3 seconds, and missiles locked onto your vehicle, they have about 90% chance of being deflected away. Now, passive radar missiles, they can actually easily defeat this. Basically, if you just maintain the visual lock, or basically after the flares have dissipated, you can reacquire the lock even though the missiles have been fired. And the countermeasures, after they've expired, the missile will still hit your jet. Now, they actually take 22 seconds to reload. Now, like the flares, the ECM jammer will disrupt incoming missiles. It'll break locks actually though for 7 seconds. The ECM jammer is both a visual distraction in the form of like a smoke cloud, which you've seen coming out the back of my plane a few times. And it also removes you from the enemy radar, which is really, really advantageous, and it does that for a very short period of time. Now the ECM's disadvantage is that if you're going at full speed, it will remove you from the cloud that's coming out of the back of you, and you're not actually covered by your protective cloud, and it allows missiles to sort of re-track and hit you. So if, for example, you need to move at full speed and you've popped your ECM and they're not being effective, I'd advise diving down to the floor, and as the missiles come towards you, they'll actually hit the floor. Now I personally prefer the ECM, as they offer more benefits than flares, like being hidden on the enemy's radar, and the TTL, or the time to lock, is more than double that of the flares. It's 7 seconds that the enemy can't lock onto you, instead of the 3 seconds with flares. Now finally, a very quick tip, as you can see here, turning speed. This is one that's always debated online, but for me I found that the perfect turning speed was around 315. Now obviously you can check that on your speedometers, and you do need to again get used to flying in third person mode. So 315, if you can get used to flying at that speed, that'll be the perfect turning speed that I found personally. So try it out for yourself, and back to Jono now.
Let's hope those tips will stop you from crashing and burning. We'll see you next time.